Hello, we are live and we are just waiting for Miss Anna to join us. So, Anna is from Horse Right and she creates journals. Essentially, these journals, here she is, we'll just get her loaded here. So, Anna creates journals for basically decompressing after a day of writing and journaling about your goals or the steps that you've taken. And here she is live. She's joined us. So, hi, Anna.
Hi.
I
Hi,
was just
Jenny.
giving a little intro of what horse right is. And it's basically like you could create a manual about your horse. Actually, when I bought my horse, they gave me an entire journal. It looked as though, what your journal looks like, but it was just, simple pages of paper. And they're like, this is Fancy's manual. Please read it. And had took care of every day she rode and journaled. And I read it. It's like I've got, a very intense lawnmower or something. And I read that journal and I'm
Yeah,
so thankful that the previous horse owner did that because it made my experience not only enjoyable, but it made me really reflect of how much just the work and time that goes into horses and the methodical processes that sometimes we forget to do because we think it's so physical, but there's so much to decompress after a ride too. So anyways,
absolutely.
but
Yeah,
tell us what we're talking about today.
I just think that's awesome. And one, thank you for having me. See, I have my carrots and horse right outfit gear on, which makes me feel really great. So very happy to be repping that. And last week, we talked about like really big picture, having fun, visualizing like your favorite self. And this week, as you guys maybe have seen through the post, so the giveaway, it starts fresh every week. But this week, the journal prompts really all about and asks, what can you start doing today? And really the purpose and point of that is to make things easy for you. So you have maybe a big goal, like you've thought it out, like I can't wait to do it. But then you're like, wait, what do I need to do? And then it gets scary. I feel that a lot. I will get overwhelmed if I have a lofty goal. So kind of breaking it down, I'll just take you through a few steps of what you can do to know what you could do today. But breaking that down really like gets you a feeling of accomplishment. So if you just like, decide to eat, maybe your goal is to be healthy. So you eat an apple instead of a cookie, right? Just like really simple little things like that. If you just change it out today, you'll just like start to feel better. So I'm really excited to just talk through a bit of my way of thinking of that.
Totally. And I wanted to touch too, we've gotten basically another way to get a bonus entries for the giveaway is to be answering the question and sharing it on your story. And we've been getting so many different, tidbits of what someone could do to start achieving their longer term goal, which we talked about last week, which was dream big. And this week we're taking it in and breaking down the steps. So we just wanted to touch base that there's everything from people having goals of competing in international type levels. Maybe you're doing local shows. Maybe you're just getting back into the sport. Maybe you got hurt. And you're trying to get back in. And also, maybe you haven't ridden in a while and you're getting back in. So we're, as equestrians, we are all over the board. There's not, one right way to have a goal. And there's also not, like, we're all in different places as equestrians. So I just want to touch on base on that before we get going of how we break a goal down and what we can do today to start accomplishing our bigger goals.
Absolutely. We're all different. We all are bonded by our love for horses, but every path and what we want to achieve is different. I love seeing the goals. I'm taking screenshots of what I see. So when you guys tag us, like I actually look at them, I'm reading them. It's wonderful. So taking it back, like what could you start doing today to help reach your goal and like why that is important to think about and start doing is that it is the actual plan. So you have that goal, like I mentioned, but it's the actual plan you can create. So start thinking backwards. It's very consequential, right? If your goal in 12 years is to do this, okay, that's what you need to do in 12 years. What do you need to do in 12 months? Sorry. What do you need to do in 6 months? We're talking in a year. What do you need to do in 6 months? What do you need to hit in 3 months? Then you're like, oh, what do I need to do in 1 month from now? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have 4 weeks to get that. Because then I know it'll take me to my 3-month goal, 6-month, and then 12-month, that ultimate goal. So you can start thinking backwards from that goal. And you may be like, well, what could I start doing today? And let me give you an example. So as Jenny mentioned, we're seeing a lot of these goals come in. One that we have seen as well is maybe you're recovering from an injury and your goal is to get back in the saddle this year. So, whatever situation that is, wherever your body is, where you need to be physically, mentally, you could take an action. If that's just like setting, like, actually, I'm going to make it a goal today to set out in 6 months, I want this to be my ride date. So you can work towards that. And then maybe it's doing some figuring out the best exercise, for yourself based on what you're recovering from, and then start implementing that slowly if it's needed. So it's really just making impact. What can you do right now that's going to help reach it? Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's scary. And what we were laughing about before is I got told one time from a trainer, she goes, "What is something so small that you can do that it feels silly?" And we're smiling, laughing. It's like, okay, yeah. Like, in order to break this down into smaller steps, what's something you could do today that it's not scary and it's so small it feels silly. So think that and kind of digest with it. And I love your example of getting back into the saddle. I feel like that's really relevant with me. And can you talk us more about being flexible?
Yeah. So we need to stay committed to our goals, but entirely flexible in our approach. But even if your goal changes, that's normal as well. Your approach then just changes. And like we mentioned, all of our goals are different, and you may be so clear, like, this is what I want, but that's okay if in 6 months you have different clarity about that goal. Then you can of course change it. But if you really know what you want, I'd advise, stay committed to it, right? Work for it. Don't change around too much. But if you know what you want, you're doing nothing wrong. You're working towards it.
Yeah. And I love that in this community too, even though it feels really large, it's also quite small, and it's write down your goals. Like, we're sharing, as far as yes, someone asked, are you talking goals in our writing? Yes, we're talking writing. And last week we talked about large goals, and this week we're talking about taking a goal and making it smaller. So it's more about the application, because everyone is at a different place with their riding. It's more about taking these applications and then applying it to your lifestyle and your equestrian goals.
Yeah.
But keeping yourself accountable is so important. And there's also community members and your friends that play a role in that, as far as sharing your goal. And that's why it's so important when we're doing those bonus entries to share what that small thing is that you can do today to accomplish that larger goal. And I love that someone shared about cross training. And I didn't get to ask them more of, is that cross training with another sport and building muscle memory in another way? Or is that cross training maybe riding a different horse in a different discipline and getting your mind and getting your tools set up, so when you get back on your horse, you have a different framework to work from. Yep. So I love seeing what we're getting back as far as the bonus entries. Make sure you're getting that answer filled out so we can see it and encourage you. And Anna and I would love to be your cheerleaders. So
yes.
And what's something you could do today? Share what that goal is, share what that step is, and we would love to be your cheerleaders. So
absolutely.
Anna, do you have anything else, major takeaway, sorry, from breaking, what you can do today down?
Yeah, I would say one is that you can think of it in terms, again, of what's important to you. So one for me might just be advancing in my own riding lessons. So I'm not competing, right? I'm not going out for a medal, but how do I start to measure that? So one, I could write down, what am I really good at? What are my top skills? And then on the other column, where can I improve? Just to do a little internal audit for yourself. What are you really good at? What can you improve? And then that can also give you good action of what you could start learning or practicing today.
Totally. I love that takeaway. And I always want to end it, have self-compassion. Goals are not only fun and exciting, but sometimes you have to give yourself a self-hug.
Yes.
There's so many different things going on in our world. Horseback riding is our total world, but at the same time, just remember there's so many things going on. And, like I said, we can be your cheerleaders. So make sure with that bonus entry, we'll make sure that screen is readily available for everyone. But we also have a really cool takeaway that Anna has created for everyone in that resource. Anna, do you want to kind of explain that?
Yeah, so we're giving out for free. I have a few just templates, like what we talked about, to give you a timeline. What can you do in 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month this week? and then what I just talked about. So you can really reflect. It's a page. What are my top skills? Where can I improve? And then actual space, like what you can start doing today. The great thing about these is that it's repeatable. You can print them off literally each week, each day, and do it. So I love like having, you know, sustainable resources and kind of mind work that you can go to. So I'm excited to share those.
Yeah, and you can take those resources and apply them to where you're at with your horseback riding goals. Again, we're all in different places, so it's an application that can be applied. So thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
Direct message us if you'd like this PDF, but also join our email list. So we'll make sure that's readily available in the next post that we're going to be doing. So sign up for the emails, and then we'll be sending an email, and that also gives you an entry into the giveaway. And we'll be giving free resources such as this PDF of breaking down your goals. So for joining us today. We're keeping this series short. We'll be having another one next Thursday. So join us then, and thank you for being part of the conversation. So thanks everyone at the bottom. So thank you.
Thank you all. We'll talk later. Bye.